Out here in the Ouachita Mountains, the land speaks a little differently. The ridge lines roll like swells of an old ocean. The trees grow tough, and everything that lives here, whether it walks, flies, or crawls, has to earn it. I came to these mountains looking for something honest. And the more time I spend here, the more I realize it's hard work, the slow work, that really ties you to a place. Today I'm taking a piece of this landscape, literally, and turning it into something I can keep in the cabin. It's a topographic map of this area, and I'll be mounting it on plywood and then sealing it up in epoxy. Functional art with a little soul behind it. This part's slow, a little tedious, but it matters. I'm trying to trim the excess off the map so it'll sit clean on the plywood. If I rush this, I'll fight with bubbles in the seams later when the epoxy goes on. Like most things out here, taking time up front saves headaches down the road. I've always loved maps for some reason. There's just something about seeing the land laid out like that that makes you appreciate just how much country's out there. Now I'm laying the map down and tracing the outline onto the plywood. Nothing fancy. Just making sure the edges match up clean. I'll cut it to size next. This is one of those steps where patience pays off. You only get one shot to make a clean cut, and that lines up right. I'd rather take a little extra time here than have to sand it or shim things later. I love using plywood for stuff like this. It's sturdy. It takes a finish well. And if treated right, this piece will last longer than I will. Well, that'll slow you down. One of the downsides of working solo out here is if something doesn't get plugged in, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
Storms are coming. I can't do it on that low.
The storms are rolling in fast, and I'm trying to get this thing cut and sealed before the rain hits. When the weather turns, you don't get much warning out here. You learn real fast that projects don't wait for perfect conditions. You just take the weather you're given. It was sunny when I started, and the storm's just coming in out of the southwest. I laid down this old cloth tarp to protect the floor, which turns out was a bad idea for epoxy. It just ran right through the cloth and right onto the floor anyway. It's not the first time I've learned something the hard way. Probably won't be the last. I'm brushing on a light coat of epoxy now, just enough to give the paper something to grab onto when I lay the map down. If you skip this step, the map can bubble up real bad or peel when you pour the final coat. It doesn't take much, but it makes a difference. Kind of like a lot of things out here. With the base coat down, I'm laying the map onto the plywood, and this part always feels a little tense. Once it touches, you're committed. I try to get it fairly centered and then put a wet coat on top before I start squeegeeing from the center out. Now I'm starting the first pour. Just a thin layer to seal everything in and keep the paper from soaking up too much. I'll do a thicker coat later once this sets up. The trick is to pour slow, let it level, and just trust the process. Same way you'd start a food plot or put up a fence, one step at a time. What I like about this kind of work is it's quiet. Just you, the materials, whatever's coming in on the wind. I'm using the torch here to get the bubbles out of the epoxy. You just do a quick little torching and it just turns into glass. All the little bubbles and imperfections go away. The next morning, the epoxy's mostly set. It still needs a little more cure time, but it's solid enough to work with. I'm putting the hanging hardware on the back now. Nothing complicated, just enough to get it up on the wall where it can finish curing without catching dust or getting knocked around. Feels good to take something flat and lifeless, a printed map, and turn it into something that holds weight, both physically and otherwise. Now when I walk past it, I'll see more than just topography. I'll see every ridge I've hiked, every draw I've hunted, every storm I worked through to make this place home. I'm cleaning up from the map project now. It's always satisfying to wrap something up, even more so when it turns out right. Next up, I'm getting a weather station.
Super excited about this. Alright, so this is it. Same logic. I'm always worried about my solar panels and the wind shear on them, as well as the container.
I've wanted to track the weather conditions out here more closely, especially with the way the weather moves through these mountains for fire season and things like that. Out here you learn to be grateful for the little tools that help you live better. I don't take any of that for granted. Every improvement, no matter how small, adds another layer to this life. It's all part of being more in tune with the place. And I'm thankful every day I get to live like this, learn as I go, and try to do it right.
Over the treetops, so not really getting any data right here, right now. What the Wi-Fi aspect of this looks like, but I'm gonna hook up to the app and Weather Underground and all that.
The evening settles in different up here. The light stretches a little longer, and the mountains hold on to the day like they're not quite ready to let go. Tonight I'm setting fire to some old slash piles, left over from the logging I had done last year. It's dry enough to burn, and we've had enough rain where it's not going to get away from me. And I've been meaning to get to this for a while. The plan is to get this whole patch cleared by fall. If I can pull that off, it's just about double the size of the food plot. I'm not trying to make it pretty, just more productive. More ground means more forage. More forage brings more life. Deer, turkey, pollinators, quail. Everything benefits when you put a little effort back into the dirt. The work never really stops. It just waits for the next sunrise. The stars come and go, and with them, another day shows up, asking for your time and your hands. This morning, it's back to the chicken coop. Nothing fancy, just something solid to keep the birds safe and the eggs dry. Every little project adds up, bit by bit. Things get better, and I'm thankful for the chance to keep building a life that feels right, one chore at a time. Today's job is the chicken coop, and I'm building it under part of the solar array. Not just to give it some built-in shelter, but to save a little on materials too. When you're trying to stretch every dollar and every board, it helps to let one structure serve more than one purpose. It won't be fancy, but it'll be solid. Good roof, strong wire, safe place for the birds. That's all it needs to be. This frame is coming off the old futon that I hauled out of the cabin a while back. It'll make a great door frame for the coop. I like reusing materials when I can, not just to save money, but because there's something honest about it. It's a reminder that not everything has to be new to be useful. It'll do just fine as a coop door. Probably better than it would have if I'd have built it from scratch, or from 2x4s or new 2x4s. Anyway. The hinges and 2x4s came from when I studded out the container. I held on to the leftovers, figuring they'd come in handy eventually, and now they are. It's not about being cheap. It's about using what you got and respecting the work that went into the first time. Every board, every bolt, it's got a little history behind it, and I like knowing that its coop is being built from the same stuff that built my home. Framing something like this is straightforward. You measure, you cut, you square it up the best you can, and then you do it again. Most of these boards have been used once already. Some came from the container build, some from old furniture. It's not perfect lumber, but it's good enough if you're willing to work with it. There's a kind of satisfaction in that, giving things a second life, making something useful out of what most folks would toss. I'm not in a rush. The coop will get done when it gets done, and when it's finished, it'll be solid, because I took my time and I did it with my own hands. It's never going to be square like a store-bought kit or chicken coop. But I hear you learn that straight enough is plenty good, and if it stands strong and keeps the animals safe, then that's good enough. The seasons don't wait for anyone. One project ends and the next one's already knocking. That's just how it goes. This whole wooden box doesn't look like much, but it holds something pretty important. It's my seed bank. I keep it in the cool of the container where the heat can't get to it. Some of these seeds are left over from past seasons, and some I've traded for. A few I've saved by hand. It's easy to overlook how much promise is packed into a handful of seed. Food security, self-reliance, all of it starts right here. There's something about carrying this box out each spring that feels quiet, like a promise you're making to the land, maybe to yourself. I'm putting some seeds. One is a pumpkin, and the other is going to be some straight neck squash. It's going to be in the drain area of my off-grid shower. And so when the water runs through the boards and down onto the ground, it comes into this area, which naturally gets watered at least once a day or every other day, at the very minimum. Some cilantro, maybe a little Nina drama. These used to be cow feeder tubs. Most folks would leave them out to crack in the sun or haul them off to the dump, but they've still got life in them. I'm cutting the bottoms out, repurposing them into raised beds. Tough as they are, plastic, they'll hold up better than lumber and cost me a whole lot less. Most farmers give them to me. If I just go by and ask if I can have the tubs in their field. I'm trying to decide where to put these and realizing that there's corn popping up out of the ground right there. Stuff like this makes you appreciate what you've got on hand. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. In the end, food grown in an old feeder tub tastes just as good as food grown in any fancy garden. And just like that, I've got 2 new raised beds to plant seed in. Once the planting's done, the rest goes back into the box. These seeds, what's left of them, go back into the cool, back into the dark, until the next time they're needed. It's a small ritual, but it matters, because every seed you save is a reminder you don't need much, just enough, and you take care of what feeds you, and it'll return the favor. Most of the work that matters doesn't happen all at once. It's built little by little, one board, one row, one chore at a time. The days pass and the stars spin, but if you're paying attention, you start to notice some things stay fixed, like purpose, like place. I'm grateful for both.